fairly confident most of you guys have figured out what the secret is I've been keeping from you for so many weeks. Although I suppose if we're being honest, you're only half right. Yes, these are two different, although very similar looking hamsters, and it gets better than this. Actually, this is a bit of a bittersweet video. Originally, it was just going to be a sweet video, but given recent events and losing nitrogen, well, you'll understand what I mean in a minute. In order for me to explain their backstory, I do need to briefly re-explain nitrogen's backstory for those who aren't familiar with how nitrogen came to be in our family. He originally belonged to a family who was friends with my mother, and they had bought 2 dwarf hamsters for their children. However, and this is a story that's going to be familiar to many of you, their hamsters were supposed to be the same sex. It turns out they weren't, and they discovered this the day that a baby appeared in the cage. They were going to need to rehome the male because they just weren't able to accommodate for him given everything that had happened. And given that I had space at home for a dwarf and was in the process of looking for a new one, I of course offered to take him. That family who originally owned Nitrogen recently went through a big change in their life, and as a result they decided to move back to the UK where they come from originally. They still had the mother hamster and the pup in their care, but because they were moving countries, of course the hamsters couldn't go with them, which meant they needed to find new homes for them. So on September 30th of this year, I was contacted by my mum to ask if I would want to take them in. Of course I said yes. I felt as though if I said no to this, it would be something I would regret later on, and in retrospect, given the recent loss of Nitrogen, I am so very glad I said yes to taking them in. I know this is gonna sound silly, I totally get that, but given how difficult Nitrogen's loss has been for me, having that connection to him through his son and through his ex-mate has been very comforting to me and has definitely helped make this situation a lot less difficult than it could have been. So on September 30th, I agreed to adopt these guys, but they didn't actually join our family until November 10th, so they've only been with us for just over a month now, and they've settled pretty well. There are a few behavioural issues that I'm working with, especially with the younger one, the pup, mainly because they weren't living in the most ideal enclosure before now, and as you may have noticed, we have not 1, but 2 new enclosures, and I did vlog the entire process of building those cages. I have to do a bit more editing on that video, and then it will be up at some point very soon, so you can look forward to that. The reason I've had to keep this a secret from you is because the family actually thought that the pup was also a female like the mother, and so they had been housing them together, and it wasn't until I picked them up and I double checked their sexes and discovered that the pup was actually a male that we realised we may have a huge crisis on our hands. So the mother had to go onto pregnancy watch for 3 weeks. She is all clear though, she is not pregnant, it's fine, we don't have any inbred babies on the way, everything is good. But that's one of the big reasons I had to keep it a secret for so long, because I just wanted to make sure she was in the clear first. I do realise I'm letting the pronoun game drag on a little bit here. I'm sure you guys want to know what these hamsters are called. So we'll start off with the female. So this is the mama hamster. She's actually the smaller of the 2. She weighs less than 30 grams. I haven't weighed them in about 2 weeks, so I don't know exactly what she weighs right now, but last time she was around 27 grams, so she's a small lady. She's a sapphire winter white, exactly like Nitrogen, exact same coat colour. And a fun fact about the sapphire colouring, aside from it being my favourite winter white colouring, it's also a colour type that is only found in winter whites. So if you have a sapphire hamster, you know that it's a winter white, or it's more likely a winter white hybrid, but at least you'll be able to identify it a little more easily. She's approximately 11 months old, and we have named her Hydrogen. And now here we have the male pup, who is significantly bigger than his mother. I believe in his last weigh-in he was about 34 grams, I think. He is now 6 months old, which means he's actually a fully grown hamster. I still call him a pup, but he is an adult now. And I know we're breaking away from the theme here. Since 2016 we have been naming our hamsters after elements from the periodic table, but I knew this would probably be one of the only opportunities I would have to do this. So because his dad was named Nitrogen and we have named his mother Hydrogen, we decided that we were going to leave the elements aside for a second and name him Ammonia. So that's the big secret. For the last month, we've had 2 extra critters living in our home. I know some of you were really excited, hoping it would be the mouse announcement. We are still getting a mouse, but of course things have been shuffled around a little bit given all of this and all of what's happened in recent weeks. Mouse is still coming. Mouse is still going to join our family. I'm hoping it's going to happen this month. Fingers crossed. Anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed finally meeting Hydrogen and Ammonia. Don't forget that you can head over and follow us on Instagram if you want to see more of them behind the scenes. I tend to post the nicest photos of my hamsters over there. And don't forget, you can also help support the channel financially by visiting our merch shop and purchasing something from there. We have these sapphire winter white t-shirts still for sale, and jumpers and hoodies and mugs and all sorts of things. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye!